Good morning. How is everyone today? Great. All right, my name is Mark Hamlin, and just want to tell you I consider it an honor and a privilege to be here speaking with you today. Such a beautiful city that you have here, and it's so good to be back here. I'm a former Marine, as you might know, and I actually served in 29 Palms, which is right up the road from here. So back that time, they kicked us out, right? Because we were pretty rowdy. But I don't think that's going to happen on this occasion. So, but so glad to be here. Such a beautiful city that you have. So this morning, we're going to talk about this phenomenon called crowdfunding. How many of you have heard of crowdfunding? Raise your hands. All right, now, today we're going to break it down for you. You're going to have a thorough understanding of what this concept is all about and how to leverage it yourself to get all the funding you need for personal, business, and charitable causes. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. How many of you would agree that it's time for new possibilities for the middle class in America today? It seems like everybody's trying to get a piece of the middle class, but there's no one out there to help us. Is that right? So we're going to talk about something I call a new blueprint, which is the next emerging solution to help the middle class, not only in America, but around the world. So let's go ahead and get started. So what are we talking about? We're talking about this phenomenon called crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is the internet's #1 newest, most exciting phenomenon and social trend for raising funds. It's the idea of passing a basket around at church with a large crowd of people being able to contribute or combine small amounts of money combined to meet financial goals of any organization, group, or individual. So there's been a lot of media coverage concerning crowdfunding. There's a very good article in Forbes magazine. It was August 2014, and they call crowdfunding the next big trend. Now, Wikipedia defines crowdfunding as the practice of funding a project or venture by raising monetary contributions from a large number of people, typically via the internet. In a nutshell, crowdfunding is 21st century fundraising. So if you're raising money for your church, or your organization, your charitable causes, doing yard sales, selling cookies and candies, that's old school. So we're going to bring you up to today, the information age. Is that okay? Yep. Excellent. So crowdfunding is a worldwide phenomenon, ladies and gentlemen, that is now helping to make the dreams of people just like you and me come true every day, to the tune of over $6.1 billion given to people to help them in 2013. $16 billion last year, and the World Bank estimates over $96 billion within the next few years. So crowdfunding is a powerful new global economy. In 2013, Facebook and crowdfunding were neck and neck in terms of the revenue that they produced, with Facebook grossing about $5.97 billion, crowdfunding grossing about $5 billion. With crowdfunding reaching $15 billion in 2014, it has now outperformed Facebook by billions of dollars. Is that significant? Yes. Absolutely. Bigger than Facebook? Now that's powerful. Powerful enough to fund any project, big or small, that you may desire. So let's talk about a few examples of what crowdfunding is doing and has done, not only around the country, but around the world. Now, maybe you might know this gentleman. This is James Robinson. Let me share a few things with you about him. Well, James Robinson makes about $10 an hour, and he lives in Detroit. A few years ago, his car broke down, and he couldn't afford to get it fixed, and he couldn't afford to buy a new one. So he did the next best thing. He walked back and forth to work 10 miles each way for over 13 years. All right, his friends, they noticed it. They did a crowdfunding campaign. They wanted to raise $25,000 to purchase a car for him. The news media got a hold of it, they publicized it all over the world, and people just like you and I gave small donations that totaled how much money? Over $300,000. It took 13,000 people just 1 month putting together these small donations in order to generate this amount of money for him. So do you think he got the car? Yeah. Absolutely, and a whole lot more. Now I have a few questions for you. First one, did this really happen? Yes, it did. Now if you have any doubt whatsoever, just go online and Google it. Now, a few other questions. Did this money come from the government? No. Was it a grant? No. Was it a loan? No. Does it have to be repaid? No. Is it legal? Yes. Ah, absolutely. Now, if you have any doubt about that, you might want to Google that as well. So let's take a look at another example. Now, this is Natalie, and Natalie loves to cook cakes and cupcakes and all these kind of things. And she would go down to the flea market, and that's where she would sell her products. till she was able to raise enough money to open up her own bakery shop in a little town called Ferguson. How many of you heard of Ferguson? Yes. Well, unfortunately, her shop was one of the places that got looted, and they destroyed her business, ladies and gentlemen. Terrible thing. Well, her friends got together and did a crowdfunding campaign. They wanted to raise just $20,000 to help her. But people just like you and I gave small amounts of money, and how much money did they give her? Over $200,000. Well, needless to say, not only was she able to renovate her place, she made it 10 times better than it was before the riots. Isn't that a good thing? Absolutely. So I have a few questions for you. Did this money come from the government? Was it a grant? Was it a loan? Does it have to be repaid? Would you like some? Yes. All right. So let's take a look at another gentleman. This is Hector. And Hector lost his job. His family became a one-income family, and they had to move from their two-bedroom apartment to his mother's basement because they couldn't afford the $850 rent with just the one income. So Hector went to his church, and he made a donation to their shared crowdfunding platform. He did what they taught him, and in 90 days, he was able to raise a significant deposit and put it on a 4-bedroom house, and he was able to close on it. So I want to give you a little background. Hector's pastor, I met him on the internet, on Facebook. Share with him this concept we're about to share with you today, and they decided that they were going to create a project to raise money for a business. They were going to use the income from the business to fund the ministry. Because you know, in the ministry, when the people are hurting, the ministry is hurting. Is that right? And so not only do people have to be innovative, organizations, ministries, and groups have to be innovative as well. Would you agree with that? So that's what they did. Now here's the key. The way that they introduced it to the congregation was like this. They said, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have a project. We're going to raise money for this business. Now you can donate to us in the offering basket, but this time we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a crowdfunding project, and we're going to promote it to the world. Now, if you will donate to our crowdfunding project, this is what we're going to do for you. As a community, we're going to come together, and we're going to help you raise the money that you need for your family. Perhaps you need money to buy a new car, pay your mortgage off, or to start a business. How many of you would like to participate with us like that? Raise your hands. Yeah? How well do you think that went over? You think it went over well? Yes. You know why? Because particularly right now, the church is looking out for the people as well as for the church. Isn't that an amazing concept? Amen. Do y'all like that? Absolutely. So let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, does anyone here have a dream, a project, or a personal aspiration that's close to your heart? Anybody? Yep. All right. So let's take a look at some of the examples. And what is your dream exactly? Maybe you want to start or expand a business. Perhaps you want to build or renovate a ministry. Perhaps you want to create a project to make the world a better place. Or you want to fund home improvements. Maybe you want to pay off some college loans or pay off a wedding. Anybody know how much college loan debt we have in America today? Quite a bit, right? More money than all the credit card and the auto loans combined. It's over $1 trillion. That's a heck of a way to start your life, isn't it? So we got to get rid of those college loans. Maybe you want to purchase a new car, purchase a house. You want to improve your retirement situation, or you simply want to pay off some loans, pay off some bills, pay off your mortgage. How many of you would like to pay off your mortgage? All right. Well, these are all reasons, ladies and gentlemen, for you to have your own crowdfunding project with people giving you money to help you. So you might say, well, Mark, why would someone want to give me money to help me pay my mortgage off? Well, before we're finished, you're going to thoroughly understand why. Now, when you look at crowdfunding, one of the things you're going to understand, there are many different types of crowdfunding platforms. There's over 600 different crowdfunding platforms or websites out there. There's crowdfunding for teenage moms, for veterans, for people with different medical challenges. There's even crowdfunding for investors. There's something called equity crowdfunding. You might want to take a look at that. All right? Now, most of these crowdfunding projects have 3 things in common. We're going to break it down for you. First is they charge you a fee or a percentage of the donations for using their platform. So in other words, when the money comes in, they're going to get a percentage of it. Next, they require you to do all your own marketing. That means that you have to contact hundreds of thousands of people through your own efforts to ask for contributions. So is crowdfunding a handout? Or is there work involved? Yes, it's work involved. It absolutely is not a handout, folks. There's work involved. And we're going to break it down and explain to you exactly what you need to do to be successful. And in many of these platforms, they have time limits. In other words, if you don't reach your funding goal within a certain time limit, in many cases, they'll return the money to the donators. So what it does, it causes people to lower their goal and they never reach their expected goal. So this is called direct funding, and we're going to break this down. You're going to have a very clear understanding of how this works. First of all, you must have a project, a reason for someone to donate to you. You have to write that project, and you're going to choose one of these websites that's going to host it for you. Second, it's your responsibility to do your own promoting. So you have to be willing to communicate with people. You'll see that? Now, the projects that raise the most money, they already have a large database of supporters or people who know, like, and trust them. Anybody here on Facebook? Anybody have any friends on Facebook? All right, well, you might want to get a few more friends because those are the people that are more likely to support your project, okay? You also need some money to advertise because you want to get it out there. And it also helps to have a team of people promoting one particular project. And finally, if you have a media-worthy project like James Robinson and you're lucky, you just might get media attention, which is free advertising. That's a good thing, right? But unfortunately, most projects don't have these resources. Most people don't understand what it takes to succeed. So they go, they do a crowdfunding project, they don't get the money they need, and they think there's something wrong with crowdfunding. But we talked about it earlier. Billions of dollars were given out last year. So we're going to show you what does it take to get a share of that crowdfunding money, okay? Now, I read a report the other day, it said only 10% of crowdfunding projects actually get funded. And that's because, as we mentioned, people don't understand what's involved. So what makes us different? Because we're crowdfunding just like the others, only thing we're supercharged. First of all, with us, direct funding is totally free. And it's our gift to you just for showing up here today. And I'm going to explain to you how it works. With our platform, we don't charge you a fee to host your project. We also don't collect the donations. The donations go directly to you. You choose your own processor, PayPal or whoever, okay? Now, with the donations going directly to you, that's very important because with the other platforms, the money goes through the platform and you have to wait to get your money. A week, sometimes 60, sometimes 90 days. Sometimes you have to jump through some hoops. You have to go through some red tape, okay? So this is significant. The money doesn't come through us. It goes directly to you. You receive 100% of the donations. And although you have to do your own promoting, all the donations go directly to you, so you don't have to wait. Can anybody use some funding right now? Yep. Absolutely. Well, that's the difference between us and them. Now, but with direct funding, for the most part, you're still pretty much on your own. You have to go out and promote. You have to go out and do the work. Are you with me? So this morning, we're going to share with you a revolutionary new way to accelerate your funding efforts for any campaign you may have, and in the process, help many others do the same. Because it's one thing for me and you to get to where we need to be economically with our projects. It's another thing if we can show other people how to get to where they need to be. How many of you would agree with that? That's true greatness, don't you think? Absolutely. So we call this accelerated funding, the way that we do it. And it's going to give you several significant abilities. The first one is the ability to help others. So it's something really powerful about that, because when you help other people, it has a way of coming back to you. Would you all agree with that? Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. You also have the ability to get instant donations. I asked you earlier, could you use some funding right now? You're able to do that with us, as well as cash donations. Anybody use a little extra cash? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We have something called primary donations and also secondary donations, and we'll explain that to you as we go forward. And this next feature is extremely important, international donations, because we live in a global economy now. Would you agree? Yep. And when you go out there and you apply for jobs, you're competing with people from all over the world. So the way that you level that out is you have to go international just like them. Would you all agree with that? Yeah. Absolutely. So now, crowdfunding is a new concept, but it's also an old concept. It comes from something called cooperative economics. Anybody ever heard of that before? I'm going to break it down for you. Cooperative economics is something that people have done throughout history to help one another when they lack the resources. So I deal with a lot of real estate agents, And one of the things I found out is that mortgages have only been around in this country since the 1930s. Mortgages were actually created and invented by the insurance company. So I asked the question, how were homes built before mortgages existed? Yeah, good question, right? Well, you either paid cash or you came together as a community to help one another. Isn't that a novel idea? Uh-huh. And so the way it works is that you would lend your time and your talents within the community to help build someone else's house. And when the time is right, the community will come over and help you build your house. Now, this concept still goes on within certain communities in our country right now. You ever heard of the Amish? Even certain organizations do it. You heard of Habitat for Humanity? But then as the ones who created the concept goes back even before the Israelites. Now let's talk about another concept. This is a social finance concept. It's called ROSCA. You might want to research this. It stands for Rotating Savings and Credit Association, better known around the world as the Poor Man's Bank. And I'm going to explain to you how this works. Around the world, participants make regular contributions to a fund, which is distributed in whole or in part to each contributor in rotation. So you have small groups of people, maybe 5, maybe 10, and they would all agree to put so much money in a fund. But each month, each person would get to take the entire amount, go out and start a business or fund a business. So this concept has been going on around the world for years. In fact, in Latin America, it's called tandas. In Mexico, it's called cadenas. In West Africa and the Caribbean, it's called susu. In Asia, it's called we. In Brazil, it's called quinila. And in India and Pakistan, where I was stationed as an embassy guard, it's called the ko. And when I go out and I talk to groups, they tell me about other cultures that also have done this. Pretty interesting, right? And so this is the way around the world where people would actually come together to help each other economically. Now, this wasn't based on your credit report. This was based on your social credit, which was your ability to be a man or woman of integrity and to keep your word. Because many of those cultures, they are honor-based. And if you didn't keep your word, it would spread around the community, and not only would it affect you, it would infect your entire family. You're familiar with that? Absolutely. So I submit to you that perhaps that's the solution for the middle class in America today. People coming together in support of one another. Because guess what? That's all crowdfunding is. So we want to introduce you to a concept called community crowdfunding. And this is where people work together in similar ways to create inspired lives. What's an inspired life? An inspired life is when you have the resources to live out your gifts and your talents. Inspired life is when you have the resources to do the thing that you really love to do rather than being tied down to a job because you have to have the money in order to support your family. How many of you would like to live an inspired life? Anybody? All right. Okay, so let me stop here because I talked to a lot of colleges. And a while back I met with the college president. They invited me and his board. Now, I'm not a history professor, but I had to give him a little bit of a history lesson. Can I talk to you for a few minutes? Sure. I found out that just 200 years ago in America, 92% of people were self-employed entrepreneurs. They were farmers, they were merchants, they were artisans, and they were craftsmen. And the last thing they ever wanted to do was to have to take a job because they considered that to be wage slavery. You might want to look that word up. Wage slavery is when your ability to take care of your family is dependent on someone else paying you a salary. And that's a situation early Americans never wanted to be in. And we've gone from 92% self-employed to 92% employees. What happened? So I did a little research. This whole thing started with something called the Industrial Revolution. A little guy by the name of Eli Whitney created the cotton gin, which separated the seed from the cotton. It caused the growth of chattel slavery in the South and wage slavery in the North, where women and children worked long hours in those sweat houses. Anybody familiar with some of that? And so several things happened. First of all, the Civil War occurred. And our country began doing something that they've been doing ever since. They started printing money to pay for a war that they couldn't afford. That caused hyperinflation. The South lost, and people out of desperation had to take jobs like never before, over 40%. So you might want to look this up. There's a book out there, it's called For All the People, The Hidden Story of Cooperatives in America, written by a historian by the name of John Curl. And so we went to 92% self-employed, and a system was started in America. You have to be able to see the big picture and see if you can complete this sentence. This is what we were taught. We were taught, go to school, get a good education, so you can graduate and get a good what? Is that what we were taught? Right. Absolutely. So that system, who does that benefit? The bosses, the Andrew Carnegies, the Mellons, the Rockefellers. You know, be that what it is, well, that's the system we've been living under. Well, how well has that worked?
Great for them.
Great for them. And so the people, ladies and gentlemen, have searched to find better ways to help one another. And one of those concepts is a concept called crowdfunding. Isn't that phenomenal? Let's go a little further. So Napoleon Hill said this. He said, it's literally true that you can succeed best and quickest by helping others to succeed. How many of you would agree with that? Absolutely. Rather than doing it by yourself paycheck to paycheck, because together as a community, we're very wealthy. But it's when we try to go out there individually to do it, that's when we struggle paycheck to paycheck. Would you all agree with that? So what would happen if the people just came together just a little bit? Oh my goodness. You know, when I got out of the Marines, I was a union carpenter. I got into the union up in Virginia. And they paid us pretty good, you know, $17 to $20 an hour. And we worked some pretty long hours. But you know what? A lot of the companies, they didn't want to hire us. Anybody know why? They didn't want to pay the benefits. They didn't want to pay the retirement or anything like that. So where have unions gone in America today? They're going bye-bye. Yeah, there's a few still out there. Are you with me? But that's when we were our strongest, when we came together. You all agree with that? All right. So that's what we're talking about today. Yes, that's right. Now you can raise unlimited funds via crowdfunding for your favorite project, dream, and personal aspiration, and in the process, share it forward to help other family, friends, and business connections do the same. Truly, this is the spirit of people helping people. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of break it down for you so you can understand how we do it. One of the things about crowdfunding, it gave room for a lot of innovation. And one thing America is known for, we're known for innovation. So cooperative crowdfunding is not a business or income opportunity. It's a donation distribution formula. And it's purely based on crowdfunding, and we make no claims or guarantees of the contributions that your project will receive. Each individual's project success depends largely on his or her commitment, desire, and personal efforts. So the amount of money that you raise for your project, what is that based on? It's based on your efforts. Yeah? So anyone can raise more money than anyone. It's all about your efforts, all right? Your connections, your influence, your resources, right? So this is a level playing field. You need to understand that part, okay? So how do we build this community? We build it by spreading the word, just like we're here now and we're getting ready to go through the West Coast, by sharing the concept, and we build this huge community of people, organizations, churches, charities, nonprofits, business, and families and individuals around the world. The potential is off the charts. Hopefully you'll catch that in a few moments, okay? Now, I'm going to give you some examples so you can get a little idea of how this works. So community crowdfunding is referral based. We spread the word, something like this. I found a way to get the funding for my project. The great thing is not a grant, it's not a loan, and there's no repayment required. The money's coming through crowdfunding. Do you know anyone who needs funding for anything? If you can say that in any language, ladies and gentlemen, you can raise all the money you need. So true. Okay? So now, this is, I'm going to give you a little example of how this works. It's not typical and it's hypothetical, because in the real world, it would never happen in this manner. Some project managers refer 5, some 2, some 1, and some none, but some will refer many more, so each situation is unique. Your total financial risk is only the initial donation that you make to your referrer's project, which is non-refundable and a personal choice. So let me explain this to you. I want to make sure you have a clear understanding of this. So we have 2 ways to raise money. The first way is called direct funding. You write your project, You promote it yourself. People donate the money. It goes directly to you. You get 100% of the money. How much does that cost with us? It's free. That's called direct funding. It's totally free, folks. All right? First thing that makes us different. The only challenge with that is that most people will run out of people to talk to, or they'll stop promoting. And when you stop promoting, what happens to the money? The money stops. So we have created a better way. Everybody say a better way. All right. Now, the way it works with us, okay, so you can do that and you can do this. This is called community crowdfunding. Now, in order to join the community, you must first give a donation to the project or the person who referred you. When you give that donation, they get 100% of the money. You never have to go in your pocket again. There are no monthly fees and there are no yearly costs. Okay? So to join the community, you must first give so that you can do what? So you can receive. Is that a spiritual principle? Right. You must first give and so that you can receive. So when you give that donation, one time $200, how much of the money goes to the project of the person or the organization that referred you? What percentage? 100%. So if 100% goes to the project that referred you, is there anything left for anybody else? Huh? So if 100% of the money goes to the project of the person who referred you, is there anything left for anybody else? No. All right. That tells you it's not a pyramid. You got that? Real simple. We just squash that right now. Okay? Let's go a little further. So in this presentation, we just want to give you a taste of how it works. We have other presentations that go into more detail. So we have some mathematicians, and they really get into the numbers. So we're not going to get into it deep. We're just going to give you an overview. Okay? So this is our donation distribution formula, and it's very simple to understand. First thing you need to know is that there are projects within our community before you joined us. In fact, there's over 30,000 of them around the world. So all of these projects, they first had to give a donation to the organization or the individual that referred them. And that organization got 100% of that money. So let's take a look at some of these, because these are all real people, by the way. The first one is a gentleman who has a handicapped son. He needs $50,000 to purchase a new handicapped-equipped van. The second one is a gentleman who has an after-school project. He services 700 children after school, and he needs about $28,000 to do some modifications to his bus. The third is a gentleman who wants to teach people how to become financially independent, but he wants to do it without any cost. So he's raising money to be able to offer the service for free. Next, we have a gentleman who's raising money to feed starving children around the world. This is an international project. And these other three projects, ladies and gentlemen, are people just like you and I. They're raising money for personal needs, for business objectives, and for charitable causes. So in order for any of them to join a community, they had to donate that $200 one time. Are you with me? Okay. Now, once they join the community, they have a job. What's the job? Spread the word. Let the people know that you found a way to get the funding for your project. The great thing is not a grant, it's not a loan, and there's no repayment required. The money is coming through crowdfunding. Do you know anyone who needs funding for anything? That's all you have to do. So simple. So this gentleman, what he did was he shared that concept with 10 individuals or organizations within 1 week. And we're going to say in this example that 5 of them decided to participate. So the first one is a sports team. They need money for equipment, for transportation, and for uniforms. The next is a gentleman who wants to raise money to start a business. Third, we have a college student, a young lady, who wants to graduate college debt-free. Isn't that a novel idea? Then we have the happy couple that wants to pay for their wedding and the honeymoon. And then we have an inspiring author. This is a young lady who wants to self-publish 5 books that she created. All right? Now, in order for them to join the community, they had to donate how much money? $200. How many times?
1.
Did they ever have to go back in their pocket again?
No.
Are there any monthly fees?
No.
Are there any yearly costs?
No.
How much of the money goes to the project that referred them? 100%. All right. So you have 5 people donating $200. How much money is that?
1,000.
We got 5 high school graduates in here. 1,000, right? A little slow, $1,000. How much of that money went to this gentleman? 100%, right? That's pretty good. He did that within 1 week. That's not bad, right? Now, here's the thing. How many people, how many organizations can he refer? It's unlimited. How many people do you know, groups and organizations out there that have a goal that needs some funding? It's absolutely unlimited, right? But that's him working by himself. All right, we're not talking about that because we've done that already, right? We're talking about what happens when you come together as a community in support of one another. How many of you would like to learn how that works? Okay, this is how it works. You take a little bit of your surplus, you take a little bit of your overflow, and you donate it to someone else. Well, how much are you going to take? According to our distribution formula, you're going to take $320. Now, where's this $320 coming from? It's coming out of the $1,000 that you receive. It's not coming out of your pocket, because our program is totally self-funding, ladies and gentlemen. You never have to go back in your pocket again. All right? Now that $360, $20 is shared with the next 3 projects like this. Project number 2 receives half, $160. Project number 3, $80, and project number 4, $80. Now, because you gave out of your abundance, you now qualify to receive more. From where? You see these 5 projects right here? They're referring projects and organizations too. We're going to say that those 5 refer 5. How much is 5 times 5? We got 2 high school diplomas in here. 25, right? So now those 25 are going to be donating $160 to you. 25 times 160, that's an additional $4,000 for your project just that fast. Now I have a question for you. These 25 people right here, do you know them? You don't know them. They're part of the community. So what happens as this community grows? Because it's going to grow, ladies and gentlemen. So now you need to understand this. That $1,000 that you receive right there, that's totally yours. You don't have to donate this at all. This is voluntary. You could keep that whole $1,000 for yourself. Everything we do here is totally voluntary. It's people helping people. So now you receive $4,000. Now you can use all that for your project, or you can take a little bit of it and help somebody else. So let's see what happens. How much are you going to take? You're going to take double, $640. Where does the $640 come from? It comes out of the $4,000 that you receive. And this $640 is shared with the next 3 projects within our community. Project number 3 receives half, $320. Project number 4 receives $160. Project number 5, $160. Now, because you were generous enough to help someone else, you now qualify to receive more donations from within the community. What community? See these 25 right here? In this example, we're going to say that they refer 5. 5 times 25 is 125. So now you have 125 project managers donating $320 to you. How much is that? Yep. Now we're getting ready to really help some people. Because for some people, that's the difference, that's life-changing. Are you with me? All right? So let's go a little further. Now that's your money. You can use that for your project, you can stop, you can continue, whatever, that's totally up to you. So how much would you do if you want to continue to support the community? How many of you would like to continue supporting the community? Okay, so you're going to take $1,280, exactly double. And that $1,280 is shared with the next 3 projects. Half goes to project number 4, 25% to project number 5, and 25% to project number 6. Now, because you gave out of your abundance and you didn't have to do it, you now qualify to receive more from this ever-growing community around the world. How much is that? That's 600. We're going to say that these 125 refer 5. That's 625. Donating $300 and $640 to you. Okay? Can you do the math on that? that's life-changing. Now, this is what you need to understand. You remember James Robinson? Does anybody remember how many people it took for him to get the money he got? Over 13,000. Let's take a look here. 5 plus 25 plus 125 plus 625. With community crowdfunding, it only takes a fraction of the people to do the same thing that James Robinson did. Can you all see that? That's right. That's why we believe we're getting ready to make some major waves in the crowdfunding community. And all of you, you are at the very beginning right here in Palm Springs. If you can see what we see, and you're willing to share the concept with others, not only will you be able to raise money for your project, your business, your charity, you're going to be able to help a whole lot of people in the community. How many of y'all would like to do that? Absolutely. Do you think that's significant? Absolutely. It's people helping people. And that's what we have, ladies and gentlemen, and we're very excited about it. So what makes this so powerful? It's the power of multiplication. We kind of talked about it. This is why our shared community crowdfunding platform is so different. We use multiplication rather than addition. Addition is you and I going out there and trying to do it by ourselves. We've been doing that all these years. How far has that gotten us? So what happens, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this. When we come together to support one another, we leverage our relationships, our connections, our influence, and our energy. The difference is exponential. It's exponential, and it's potentially life-changing. For anyone who can grasp the concept, some people might miss it. It might go over your head. Are you with me? This is what you do. If you got any doubt, just start spreading the word to a few people and see what happens. It'll make a believer out of you. Yes, that's all you do. Just spread the word to a few and watch and see what happens. So we had a young lady, she did a post on Facebook. She got hundreds of responses. We took that same post and passed it to some other people. They got hundreds of responses. Let's go a little further. Now, some funds are received immediately. We talked about that, instant donations and cash donations. The other funds go into the e-wallet, which you can withdraw to your PayPal account. And we also have an international debit card, which is good in 170 countries. You can withdraw $7,500 a day on that one. So what makes it so powerful? It's the technology. The gentleman who created our software, he was a rocket scientist for the federal government. I mean, he really was a rocket scientist, and he went into corporate America, and he created this proprietary software that I've never seen before. And so it can work for you automatic. You just push the button, it'll do everything for you. To receive the donations, it will donate it out for you, or you can do it manually if you want to. But when you do it automatically, it doesn't get any easier than this. It'll operate for you 24/7 around the clock. All right? So how do you get the word out? Well, word of mouth is the easiest way. Just keep doing what you do and talk to people. And you get in conversations and you hear about different needs that people have, and you say, well, hey, have you heard about crowdfunding or community crowdfunding? And you send them to a website or send them to a video, and they're going to let you know what they want to do. Right? One of the things you have to understand about crowdfunding, we don't have anything to sell. We don't have anything to buy. We have no monthly fees on our yearly costs. We just simply show people how to get the funding that they need. It's totally different. Can you see that? You can use text messages, emails, you can post on Facebook, you can do videos on YouTube, and you can set in motion an internet tidal wave around the world that may change your life forever. So I did a little video on YouTube, and I connected with a gentleman from South Korea. He looked at the platform, and we got all his questions answered. He said, Mark, I really like this. I want to introduce this to my community in South Korea. And he went out there and did that. And right now, that community is the second largest community, growing community in the whole company. Because in South Korea, they're already used to working together. The first largest growing community are the Germans, from Germany. Kind of interesting, isn't it? This is one of the reasons why, when you do something like this, you want to go out of your vertical. You want to talk to everybody you know, because this is global. Remember what the great motivational leader Zig Ziglar said? He said, if you help enough other people get what they want, that you can get what you want. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah.
This is the power of our revolutionary shared donation distribution platform. We succeed in funding our projects by helping and supporting others to fund theirs. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to kind of share my story with you. So I was in the construction business, and we did pretty good for about 9 years. My wife didn't have to work or anything. And then all of a sudden, the recession came. Anybody know about the recession? Yep. So we managed to hold on for about 2 years, and then after that, the bottom fell out. I was going from 6 figures, we're down to about 20,000. I mean, it was like overnight. And quite frankly, I didn't know what to do. I mean, you ever been in a situation where it was so tough that you froze up? You ever been in a situation like that where you were petrified? Well, that's how I was. It was like being in a prison or something. And fortunately, thank goodness, I snapped out of it enough to talk to somebody to ask for some help. Most of the time when people get in trouble, they keep it to themselves, don't they? Yep, it's the worst thing you can do. So I called a good friend of mine. He gave me the best advice that anybody could give me. He said, Mark, you need to get a good lawyer. And that's exactly what I did. So what the lawyer did, he gave us a little more time because I forgot to tell you, my house went into foreclosure. We didn't make an on-time mortgage payment for 1 year. Needless to say, we got the notice. And the only thing I could think of, what in the world are we going to do with all that stuff in the attic? Seriously. And so they gave us a little more time. Well, by this time, I had been doing crowdfunding for 2 months, y'all. I was just getting started. And within the next 5 weeks, I raised all the money we needed to pay the bank every dime we owed them, to pay the attorneys on both sides, to get back in right standing with the bank, and I saved my house. And every penny came through this program right here. It was tens of thousands of dollars, folks. Then the other day, my wife has a master's degree. She's a teacher. When the bottom fell out, she had to go back to work. But she couldn't get a job in the field. So she had to take a job with the temp agency, working for the state, making $10 an hour. And she came to me the other day, because she seen what's happening. She came to me the other day, she said, Mark, you know what, I'm ready to leave my job. I said, you still there? And she gave the notice, my wife's coming back home.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's all because this program right here. Now, here's the thing. Not only has it changed my life, I've seen it change the lives of a whole lot of other people. And it's amazing. And I believe it can change your life. It can help you raise the money for your business and help you support your charitable cause as well. So if you're here today and you would like to partner up with us, raise your hand. Raise them up high so I can see it. All right? Now, if you're on the computer, if you're watching this by video, get back in contact with the person who referred you. They're going to help you get set up, and they're going to help you get started so you can be on the way, raising all the money you need for your projects as well. So if you're here today, just get back with the person who referred you. They're going to get you set up, and we're looking forward to working with you, helping you raise all the money you need for your projects. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.